Just a
Welcome.
second. Just okay. Now we're live.
Okay, thank you. Welcome to the Carmichael Old Foothill Farm CPAC. I am Chairman Nick Blois. Clerk of the Board, would you please call the roll and please establish a quorum, and then please read the announcements.
Yes. This is Darrell with the clerk of the board. Member Burnett,
Here.
Dax Conroy, Member Feliciano, Member Feliciano.
Yes, here.
Okay. Member McCoy, Member Rockenstein,
Here.
Member Rosales, and Blois.
Here.
And you have a quorum.
Okay.
And as
thank
for
you.
our announcements today, this meeting is live streamed and temporarily closed to in-person public participation. The clerk's office is in the process of hosting hybrid public meetings that will provide board members and members of the public with the option to participate in the meeting either in person or remotely. Thank you for your patience and support. To make a verbal comment at today's meeting, dial 916-875-2501 to provide your contact information. When the chair opens public comment for a specific agenda item or off-agenda matter, callers will be contacted by phone and transferred into the meeting to make their public comment. Written comments are always accepted. Send your email comment to boardclerk@sackcounty.net, and your comment will be routed to the board and filed in the record. And that concludes my announcements.
Okay, thank you, Darrell. Now we just wanted to welcome everyone, and a few items of meeting procedure and best practices. If everyone would speak from a handset or headset, please. Would you mute devices when not speaking to minimize background noise? Please announce your name when speaking on an agenda item so all participants and listeners are aware who has the floor. When the chair calls for a motion and a second, please announce your name prior to making the motion or second so that the clerk can record that. And the clerk will take a voice vote and confirm the results of the vote. With that, Darrell, clerk of the board, would you please call the first item?
Yes, so item number 1 is going to be the Landis Avenue tentative partial map at 6050 and 6054 Landis Avenue, south of Landis Avenue, and approximately 500 feet west of California Avenue in the Carmichael Old Foothills Farms community. Request for a tentative partial map, special development permit, and design review.
Okay, I think the county staff will go ahead and make their presentation.
Okay, hold on one second here. Rebecca, are you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. I just unmuted you. So now we have your presentation up. So just when you're ready, just let us know when to go to the next slide, okay?
Okay, excellent. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rebecca True. I am an assistant planner with Sacramento County, and I will be presenting the Landis Avenue tentative parcel map. Next slide, please. The project site is located at 6050 and 6054 Landis Avenue on the south side of Landis and approximately 500 feet west of California Avenue in Carmichael. The site currently contains 3 parcels, 2 front lots along Landis with existing duplexes, and a vacant landlocked parcel, which is highlighted on screen. Next slide, please. The site is zoned for single-family residential, RD5, and is surrounded on all sides by RD5 zoning. Next slide, please. The 2 northern parcels along Landis Avenue established the duplexes and a private drive for access in 2013, and the southern parcel remains vacant and has been that way for many years. Next slide, please.
Can I ask, sorry to interrupt you, is there a way to put your slides so that they are full screen for us? Because right now they're just a small square. It's hard to see, at least for me.
Okay, I will try to see if I can get it a little bit bigger. Okay, that's probably what you see now is probably about as big as we're going to be able to get it with how it projects onto Blue Jeans.
So
Is that a little bit better?
Feliciano, if you if you go down below the video screen of the people, you have a picture of a person and a picture of a graph. Go all the way to the graph. That should take it the biggest you can. It'll get rid of us as video people, and you should have the biggest
Got
view
it.
you have.
Got it. Thank you. That's great. Thank you so much.
Okay. Are we good now?
Yes.
Excellent. So the applicant request includes a tentative parcel map to divide the 3 existing parcels into 4. Also a special development permit to allow all 4 parcels to take access from the private drive, and for the 2 northern parcels to deviate from the required front yard setback. And lastly, a design review to comply with countywide design guidelines. Next slide, please. The 2 northern parcels, which I'll call 38 and 39, are planned to stay the same size, while the southern landlocked parcel is divided into lots 1 and 2 with those written areas there on the screen, which comes to the total of 4 parcels. 38 and 39 are included in the map because the public access and utility easement would have to be extended to reach the landlocked parcels. This would classify the driveway as a roadway, thereby deviation number 1 under the special development permit, and necessitates the reorientation of the existing front yards, thereby deviation number 2. An initial study is also being prepared as part of this project. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation, and I'll take any questions now. Thank you.
Any questions by CPAC members? Okay. Applicant, would you like to make your presentation?
This is Bob Ink with Hi, this is Bob with RFA Engineering, representing the owner. I'm not sure if the owner's on the line. I'm on a phone call, but I'd be happy to answer any questions. It is a proposed 4-lot map, as Rebecca has said, and we want to move forward for approval.
Okay. Any other items? Okay. Any questions by CPAC members for the applicant?
Yeah, I have a question.
Okay.
Michael Feliciano here. I have a question for the applicant. As part of this review process that we're looking at right now, has this plan already been reviewed by like the fire department and other public entities related to access for emergency and access for other public services, I guess I would say?
Yeah, to answer that question, yes, it has. It's gone through, we went through a pre-development meeting with Sacramento County, which included several agencies, including fire, water, sewer, public works, and planning. So and then through this tentative map process, we again went through all of those departments and getting their review. And the latest tentative map reflects what we're proposing to do and addresses the comments from the county departments.
Thank you for that. And I apologize for any if that information was in the document we got and I just didn't see it. I apologize for that. I think it's exciting. It looks like an efficient use of space and certainly an increase of overall housing inventory. Are all 4 of these units planned to be single family like rental dwellings, or are they being sold?
Well, the front 2 parcels, parcel 1 and 2, those are existing duplexes, and they're occupied. Parcel 3 and 4 in the rear would be the new lots, and those will be probably single family. I don't believe the owner's made a decision yet, but that's something that will be determined later on. I believe if they went to a duplex situation, they would have to file another permit with the county. But right now, it's proposed as a single family.
Understood. So each of the squares that I see would be a single family dwelling. If they were to decide that each of those wanted to split into, then you would end up with like 4 duplexes back there, and that would have to engage another approval process, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Right now, parcel 3 and 4, they're vacant lots, proposed to be vacant lots, and right now they would be proposed as single-family homes. And I do believe in talking to Sac County Planning that we would have to do something different if they anticipated to put in duplexes back there. Part of the issue is the size and the geometry of the property and the lot in trying to fit in those type of units. So it may only lend itself to being a single family lot.
Yeah, this is Rebecca. In the RD zone, the builder has to be able to secure a use permit if they want a duplex.
Thank you, Rebecca. Any other questions by CPAC members? If not, then Darrell, do we have any public comment on this?
Have any public comment for item number 1 at this time?
I don't hear any.
I'm sorry, did you hear me?
I'm asking, is there any public comment? There isn't any?
No, I'm sorry. I must have clicked the wrong thing. No, there are no public comments for item number 1 at this time.
Okay, perfect. Then we can close public comment, and the applicant doesn't need to address any new questions. So at this point, CPAC discussion. CPAC members, any questions, or do we have a motion on this?
I like this, Director Rockenstein. Sorry.
Yes, Mike. Director Rockenstein, please go ahead.
I was going to make a motion to approve as presented.
Okay.
So Nick, I'll be your second.
Okay. Matt Burnett seconds. Okay. Darrell, clerk of the board, would you please call the roll, please?
Yes. Member Burnett?
Yes.
Dax Conroy? Feliciano?
Yes, I support the project.
McCoy? Rockenstein?
Aye.
Rosales? And Blois?
Aye.
And your motion carries with members Dax Conroy, McCoy, and Rosales being absent.
Thank you. All right, great. All right. Darrell, would you read item number 2? You're welcome. Darrell, would you read item number 2 for us?
Yes. So item number 2 is going to be community input on Sacramento County fiscal year 2022-2023 budget priorities.
Do we have county staff to present?
We do. Good evening. This is Chris Pahuli, Principal Planner with the Planning and Environmental Review Division, and wanted to just provide a couple of introductory remarks on this item. So the Board of Supervisors recently approved their 2021-2022 budget. They are on a fiscal year of July 1 through June 30th. So we are only a couple of months into the 2021-2022 budget. In your agenda packet, you were provided with a summary of the recently adopted budget. As part of that process, part of that adoption process, the board provided some direction to the to county staff in preparing next year's budget. So they're already thinking about the 2022-2023 budget and wanting to do some additional outreach to the community and stakeholders as part of that 2022-2023 budget. And they are intending to do some sort of survey or some kind of, like I said, additional outreach materials. And so what they directed the county staff to do was to go out and get some preliminary feedback from all of the boards and commissions. And the Carmichael CPAC is one of those boards and commissions. We are in the process of going out to all of them, all of the CPACs included, and having a conversation or getting some input from the boards and commissions about priorities and where the county should be investing budget resources. And that information is going to be useful in putting together some sort of survey or outreach materials to the general public. So what we're asking the CPAC members to do this evening is to provide some feedback or input as to where the county should be prioritizing its budget resource. The clerk of the board's office will be recording your comments, and we'll be providing them to the county staff preparing the budget materials for for the survey and outreach materials. And I believe it will also be provided to the board as well. So that's the introductory remark. I'm happy to answer questions, and if there aren't any, happy to hear the input from the CPAC.
Okay. Chris, this is Nick Blois, chair of the board. I do have a couple items for priority for the Board of Supervisors. One would be the importance of the Sacramento Sheriff Homeless Outreach Team, the HOT team. It is very important with the number of transients that we're experiencing in Carmichael, as well as Old Foothill Farms, that we fully fund and staff the HOT team, the Homeless Outreach Team for the Sheriff's Department. Another related item would be a second garbage truck. Currently, there is one garbage truck to the entire Sacramento County to pick up transient trash. So when we have these encampments cleaned up or the transients move on, a lot of their trash is left behind. We only have one team in all of Sacramento County to pick that up, one truck. And so not only do we want one additional truck for the county, we'd also like a second team of folks to support that truck. So the county will have two trucks, garbage trucks, to support in this working with the transient folks that we have in Sacramento County. So those are the two comments that I have for the board. Other CPAC members, do you have comments for the budget?
Director Rockenstein, I want to echo the chair's comments around that, and then also add that, which has been a discussion with Supervisor Desmond around park security services as well, maintaining surveillance around security to avoid any vandalism, and also secondly, trash pickup, and third, around those services that the chair mentioned and the impact of those services upon some of the public spaces and lands.
Right. Other CPAC members, did you have any other input?
Yeah. So
Yeah, Michael Feliciano here.
Go ahead, Michael. Go ahead.
Thank you. And I echo the comments that have been made thus far in terms of priorities. I would like to express a priority or some concern around repaving roadways. And I was looking at the budget here, and my question is the funding source on page 20 here, the column on the right side, is that budget item, the land use development and transportation, is that the funding source for specifically repaving roads?
Yeah, it would be. I mean, this is just a roll-up document. I didn't spend much time going over this summary document. On the last page, there's a link to further materials where you could pull down the entire county budget that would have that information detailed. But yeah, generally that is where you would find funding for roadway improvements, but it also includes a whole host of other transportation-related improvements.
Gotcha. And so, in light of that, and I guess my expression of priority would be, and I think we're hearing a lot of discussion right now about infrastructure, and I know that there's some national activity around creating infrastructure budget, and here at the local level, I think we would all agree, and I am starting to see some activity on county roadways. There's been some activity on Madison in terms of resurfacing that's long needed. I was driving today on Cypress, and I noticed a small patch of Cypress that was gotten redone up near Manzanita. And I'm just really aware, and I think other members would probably share my concern that roadways are in extremely bad shape. And there's at the neighborhood level, is certainly out here in Old Foothill Farms and other places where there's just chunks of pavement coming out and like sitting on the sidewalk as you go by and stuff. And so I would just express a strong emphasis on boosting however we could possibly boost the budget specifically for roadway resurfacing.
So, Member Burnett, I would say, echo everything that's been said, right? I think the hot team is very, very important. I think the garbage truck and a crew supporting that is extremely important. I've seen that crew within the county, not just in the area that we are serving for, but throughout the county. I happen to know it's the same group of guys doing the whole county, right? They can't keep up. So I think that that's truly needed. I think the hot team really needs the help. Roadways, definitely a concern. I mean, I can just tell you, I know of several people that have left the area and sold their homes because of the roadways over the years. Like, that's just literally been the case. Same with, unfortunately, our homeless folks that are in the area, right? My other kind of concerns outside of those, if there's any dollars left, because I think those are all kind of big hitters. Honestly, for me, would be cooling centers for the homeless, eating centers for the homeless during those times of the year, making sure that we're open and not shut down, right? And then, just to be honest, we have quite a few refugees. We have quite a few young kids. Any kind of support of outreach programs and volunteer groups that are doing that, whether it's allowing a county office to be used or pushing small budget towards that. But I think that those fall far behind working with our community, working with the homeless individuals, working with making sure that, one, they're not destroying or trashing the area, but that they are being taken care of in some way, right? And I think the roads are a huge factor in that as well. So.
Okay, is that everyone? Okay, thank you for your time. Chris, is that what you needed?
Yes, that was perfect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
This is Darrell with the clerk of the board. Just for the record, there was no public comment for item number 2.
Okay, thank you. All right. With that, I think we move on to
Staff updates.
There we go.
Yeah, it's going to be staff updates. And Chairperson Blois, you did bring up something. You mentioned something to me about DL2. I don't know if maybe that might even be something you can ask in this portion of the meeting, because Chris Bahuli's on the line.
Well, Chris, I do know something that I'm not sure if the other board members know. We did have some planning staff leave and some clerk of the board staff leave. So Chris, did you want to mention some of the retirements that we had recently?
Sure, I can do that. We have had quite a bit of change in planning. We did have Manuel Mejia, which I think many of the members are familiar with. Manuel did retire just perhaps maybe a couple of months or maybe a few months ago.
July 16th, 2021.
Oh, July 16th. Okay, so maybe a little more than just a couple of months ago. Maybe,
I saw him on the 15th, so that's the only reason why I know.
yeah.
He was with our CPAC every month, and he's greatly missed. So
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure if the rest of our board members knew that.
Yeah, we've also had a few people move around in planning, and so I think you'll continue to see different faces or different voices while we're doing remote meetings. But we have been bringing new people in to the division. We've been training people up, and we have some really good and competent planners joining the team. So you'll be getting to know a lot more. I will say that the senior planner, however, that will be responsible for Carmichael as well as a number of the traditional communities, traditional community plan areas like Carmichael and Arden Arcade and so forth, is Kimber Gutierrez, who is on the line this evening. And she has taken over for many of Manuel's responsibilities. And so she will be a sort of constant presence at many of your meetings, given that most of the work that's being done in Carmichael and Old Foothill Farms is going to be done by staff working for Kimber. So.
Okay, great. And I don't know if Alma's on the line, but we did have a big change in who sends out these reports.
Yes, this is Alma Munoz from the Clerk of the Board's office. Well, fortunate and happy for Stephanie Townsend, but she was promoted to a different department within the county. She was promoted to a higher position, and we miss her a lot. And we filled her position with someone. Her name is Rochelle Rolanka, and she's only been with our office for about a month, and it's a big job to learn. So it's a big learning curve, but she's got a really good attitude, and she'll be trying to attend each CPAC meeting, but she's clerking a lot of meetings. She took over the clerking duties for a lot of the meetings, so she wasn't able to attend this meeting. So hopefully in the future you'll see her virtually or in person. And but you can reach out to her and ask her any questions, and you can include me on anything that you think I might need to know as well. And I'm sure you all have her email. So that's one of the big changes. We have several staffing changes. We also had one of our clerks, a couple of our other clerks promote. And so you will be seeing new faces in these meetings. Of course, Darrell is still here, so she's still the Carmichael clerk, but you might see other clerks in the meetings as we go through the training program.
Great, thank you. And I just wanted to mention one thing to all the board members here is that if you do have to miss a meeting, Rochelle is the one to contact, right, Alma?
Yes. Yes.
Just to let the clerk of the board know that if you're going to miss, they should know. So appreciate that. And then I think, so item number 4, Darrell, I think is where the CPAC members speak. And this is probably the best part for me to just ask a question to Chris. We had back in, over a year ago, we had a discussion about a traffic light at Bourbon and Manzanita, the need for one. And the Department of Transportation contacted me like the day before Thanksgiving, and I was never able to get back with them. But I know that Director Burnett and myself are very interested in what the steps would be necessary to get a street traffic light installed at that location.
Okay, I'd have to follow up with DOT staff on that. I'm assuming if that is the location, I'm assuming it was related to the Verde Cruz project, right? The townhome project right there at the corner.
Yeah, I think that's where that whole intersection became,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
came up as a conversation piece during that presentation, as there
Mhm.
currently has already been quite a few accidents and close calls before we even add any more housing or community there.
Uh-huh.
And there has been some mitigation that they tried to put prior to that meeting. They put some not islands, but bumps, big yellow things to stop people from turning left off of Bourbon onto Manzanita away from Madison. But quite frankly, the residents just run over it. It's not, I think it actually helps accidents instead of
Mhm.
avoids them. But just a concern there.
Got
To
it.
see
You'll have to
where-
remind me, was someone from transportation going to follow up, or you're just looking for an update from transportation, or want to continue the conversation?
we want to continue the conversation because both the public that Matt and I speak to are
Uh-huh.
very interested in getting a light put in there.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't have Jason on this call, Director McCoy, who's an expert in this type of stuff. I do remember the one thing is there are no warrants, but to me, for myself, I don't know exactly what that means.
Okay.
But
Okay.
there are no warrants, but that is a desperately needed light there. And
Okay.
with that new development going in, it is so this is the part where we get to ask that, and if planning could ask DOT to contact me about that, and also Director Burnett, so that we could follow up with our constituents that have asked us, because we may need a petition or something. I don't know what the steps are to get a traffic light put in, but it's not like the county's looking to do that, but I think the community wants it. So I just wanted to bring that to the DOT's attention. And
I will pass that word along and have them have someone from DOT get in contact with you.
Yeah,
and I can say as a driver, I don't want to have to stop at one more stoplight going through there, but I think that for the safety of folks trying to turn left, I think it's a big deal. And then, Nick, you may know, I don't know. Do we have any feedback on the 7-Eleven that was going in on Fair Oaks, or that was proposed?
I think that went all the way up to the board, and
it did. I know that. I just didn't
denied. It got
see
denied.
It did. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And I figured that's what it was going to be, but I just didn't quite know.
Okay. Okay. Michael or Mike, did you have any comments that you wanted to make? Public comments or your comments?
Nothing specifically. I suppose this is a good time to mention. There's been a lot of activity. I'm on the board of the Old Foothill Farms Neighborhood Association as well, and just I guess bringing an item of concern. And since we have someone from the county, that this is probably a good time to ask this. We have a serious issue over here, and I don't know about other parts of Carmichael, but we have a serious issue over here with illegal fireworks throughout the year. Not just, I mean, it certainly gets really bad around the 4th of July, just typically starting a month or even like this year, 2 months beforehand, and then now still lingering. I mean, July, we're a couple months out from July, and we still have random 10, 11 o'clock at night, we have what sounds like bomb blasts. And, I know they're fireworks. And myself and the other board member over here on Old Foothill Farms Neighborhood Association have, at some point, we've actually taken into getting into our vehicles and driving around the neighborhood and trying to pinpoint where this activity might be happening so that we could, at least like call the police, give them an address or something like that. We don't know much about what type of enforcement actually exists. And then the idea that I had for years, I lived in city of Sacramento, in Midtown, Curtis Park area, down there, where they have the police boxes up on the poles, which are actually able to pinpoint like gunfire, and they can actually triangulate and like pinpoint the origins of gunfire, and it alerts law enforcement when blasts go off. And I guess I'm just wanting to ask the county, is there any possibility of implementing that type of equipment into neighborhoods where we know there's a lot of illegal fireworks activity to possibly initiate some stronger enforcement practices?
Yeah, so this is Chris Bahuli. I would just say in response to your questions that at least myself in planning that I wouldn't have a good response to you in terms of how to go about pursuing that issue. I would suggest that perhaps you continue to work through your neighborhood association and working with either the sheriff or your board office to kind of have that conversation. But at least from a planning standpoint, there isn't anything that we're currently working on or any avenue for us to kind of work on something on that matter.
And thank you for that. And I totally understand. It was kind of a long shot question, but it sounds like definitely having a dialogue with law enforcement is the way to proceed.
Member
That's
Feliciano?
what I would recommend.
Go ahead, Darrell.
No, I was just going to chime in and say that I didn't have much information either, but I believe that you can do 311 to report any incidents that happen, and I believe that they investigated. Is that sound correct, Alma?
I was going to say that this is something that's been brought to the board. The board members are keenly aware of the issue. I have to say, I spent 4th of July this year in Orangevale, and it was ridiculous. I could not believe the amount of fireworks. I live in the country. We don't do fireworks because of fire danger, but it was really overwhelming. And I know the board members are very concerned about it, so maybe that's also an avenue you can take. I don't know of anybody at the sheriff's office you can contact, and like Darrell says, you can also call 311. But especially for the ones that are kind of randomly happening now when 4th of July is not, it's not even close. So, but I know that the board officers are very concerned about it. So you may consider, of course, contacting your board representative and letting him know about your concerns. And we'll include it in the action summary as well. As far as the concerns about regarding illegal fireworks from the CPAC members.
Thank you for that.
Great, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Steen, did you have any concerns you wanted to, just put on public record? Mike?
I mean, beg your pardon, Director Rockenstein. Areas around parks and some of the public lands in terms of the trash pickup and also the continual presence of transient/homeless individuals on streets that have been traditionally not been either camped out or an encampment or where we've sort of have seen, lack of a better term, it's not traditional, but where it's been consistently there. So that's one concern. The second concern, obviously, is not more of a concern. I think we are seeing more of the, with some recommendations that we're asked to approve or not approve, is around this infill. And it's not a bad thing. I think, part of it is, it's just doing our due diligence as a board around some of these infill activities and make sure it's consistent with a number of the master plans or some of the area plans as well. So as still kind of a newer board member, even though I can't say that probably in about a month or so, I see that occurring more and more, which is not a bad thing.
Thank you, Mike.
But primarily my topics were really around the areas we discussed related to the budget, which is something that I know Supervisor Desmond has talked about last year and also this year. One is homeless, two is transportation, and street as far as getting our streets more maintained and resurfaced. Three is we're seeing along the Fair Oaks improvement district. Those things we're seeing gradual improvements around. That will continue to work. I just want to say on the firework issue, I think that was consistently a problem, not just in Orangevale and North Highlands or Old Foothill Farms, but in I call it Greater Carmichael, but in Carmichael, where we saw it and heard it over a 5 to 7 day period around 4th of July. But also I would expect to see it around New Year's as well. That's it.
Great. Thank you, Director Arkenstein. Okay. Darrell, I think do we have any public comments on things not covered?
No, we do not have any public comment at this time for item number 5. And I also want to state for the record, there was no public comment for item number 3, which was the staff update, and item number 4, which was the council member comments.
Okay, great. Okay. So with that, hopefully we will see all each other next month in October. We'll have some other item to work on. Other than that, unless there's any questions, we're adjourned.
Okay,
Thank you.
Everyone have a good evening.
Very much.
Good to see you guys. Take care.